All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to tackle a form that, let's be honest, can be a little confusing for input service distributors, Form GSTR-6A. We're going to demystify this thing and show you exactly why thinking of it as your read-only blueprint is the secret to getting it right every time.
So if you're an ISD, you know the drill. Invoices are flying in from your suppliers, and before you can pass on that all-important input tax credit, you have to be 100% certain that everything lines up. But what's the best way to do that? How do you get a single, clear picture without getting buried in a mountain of paperwork?
Well, that's where this form comes in. It is your go-to tool for verification. Meet Form GSTR-6A. The best way to think about it is as the blueprint for your input tax credit. It's the plan, the master guide that shows you exactly what your suppliers have reported before you even start working on your final GSTR-6 return.
Okay, so let's dig into this blueprint a little deeper. In this first part, we're going to get to the absolute heart of what GSTR-6A does in your day-to-day workflow. We'll nail down what it is and, just as important, what it isn't. First things first, what in the world is this form really? Let's get a super clear definition of its purpose and especially its limitations, because trust me, understanding those limitations is half the battle.
So here it is, the official breakdown. GSTR-6A is a system-generated read-only draft. The two key phrases there are system-generated, meaning you don't create it, the GST portal does, and read-only, which means you can't change it. Its only job is to be a mirror, reflecting what your suppliers have uploaded in their own GSTR-1 returns.
Now, this is probably one of the most important things to get straight. People often confuse GSTR-6A with GSTR-6, but they are completely different animals. Just look at the comparison. GSTR-6A is the auto-populated, read-only blueprint you use to verify. GSTR-6 is the final return that you have to manually fill out, edit, and actually file. One is for checking your work, the other is the work you submit.
Okay, so if it's auto-populated, you might be wondering, where does all this data magically come from? Let's pull back the curtain and see how that information flows from your supplier right into your form.
And honestly, the process is incredibly simple. It's just a two-step. Step 1, your supplier does their part. They upload, save, or file their GSTR-1. Step 2, the moment they do that, the GST system automatically pushes those invoice details right into your GSTR-6A. It happens almost in real time, which is fantastic for staying on top of things.
But, as we all know, timing is everything. So let's walk through this timeline. Say you file your GSTR-6 for June on June 6th. Now, if supplier A files their return on time, say June 10th, that invoice pops up right where it should, in your June GSTR-6A. Perfect. But here's the catch. Look at supplier B. They file their June return late, on July 10th. That invoice will not show up in your June statement. Instead, the system pushes it into your July GSTR-6A. This is a huge deal for reconciliation, because it means you have to wait until the next month to claim that credit.
All right, time for a rapid-fire round. Let's bust some of the biggest myths and common mistakes people make with Form GSTR-6A. These are the rules you absolutely have to know. This is the #1 question we get asked. You're looking at your GSTR-6A. You spot a typo or a wrong amount from a supplier. Can you just hop in there and fix it yourself?
And the answer is a big, flashing no. It is strictly read-only. Remember our blueprint analogy? You don't take a pencil and start changing the architect's plans. Use the plans to build. Any and all of your actions, corrections, additions, you name it, they have to happen in your main GSTR-6 return. Okay, next up, since this form is sitting there in your portal filled with all this important data, do you have to actually file it or submit it to the government?
And again, that's a hard no. It is not a tax return. It's a tool, a reference guide, a checkpoint. Think of it this way. When you write a research paper, you don't hand in your rough notes, right? You use them to write the final paper. GSTR-6A, those are your notes. Okay, so we've nailed down what it is and what it isn't. Let's finish up by focusing on the practical side of things. How to use this form as your final checkpoint to make sure your records are clean and your reconciliation is spot on.
When you open it up, you'll see it's pretty comprehensive. It's not just the basic invoices for your ITC. It also lists all the debit and credit notes you've received. And, super importantly, it includes any amendments your suppliers made to previous invoices or notes, so you're really getting the full story.
So this is the so what part. How do you put this blueprint to work? Sure, you can view it online, but the real power is unleashed when you download it as an Excel file. Then it becomes a serious tool for your internal records, for reconciling your books with what your suppliers have reported, and it is an absolutely invaluable document to have saved if you ever face an audit.
Look, if you remember just one single thing from our chat today, let it be this. GSTR-6A is a read-only auto-generated statement. Its entire purpose is to help you verify what your suppliers have said before you file your final return, the GSTR-6. It's not another task on your to-do list, it's a tool in your belt. So the real question is, are you using your blueprint to its full potential?